So I emphasized very much yesterday the enormous significance of establishing continuity in practice, right? Is that which gives coherence to whole life, and the glorious possibility of coherence from lifetime to lifetime, that you actually see something, some real movement, like the growth of a tree, decade after decade, in case of large trees like the sequoias in California, century after century. But you see something, it's not just a sprout here and a sprout there and a few weeds here and a few weeds there. It's something that's growing monumentally, right? These great trees that grow to, 50 meters or whatever. And so in a similar fashion, one's life can be like that. Not just a bunch of weeds growing in a field with a few flowers and more weeds and more flowers and more weeds. I mean, a life can easily be that way. But the notion of a whole life coalescing around a very meaningful unfolding, a growth, a transformation, an evolution. A key factor of that, of course, is continuity. And there are many paths, that's for sure, many very fine paths. And among them, there's the Buddha Dharma, the path of the Buddha. And so those who are very committed to following this path, they're called in Tibetan Nangba, they're called insiders, because they're looking within. They're looking within for fulfillment, for happiness, for the realization of their innermost desires. They're looking within instead of looking outwards to things like the three jewels of the mundane world: wealth, power, and prestige. So we're all practicing Dharma. Those are called the mundane Dharmas. Everybody's practicing Dharma. There's mundane Dharmas where we're still placing our hopes in things outside to really, provide us with the satisfaction that we seek. And then when we kind of grow up, really it's kind of like that, get real. That all one has to do is look really carefully in one's own life, the life outside, and one sees, but actually no one's ever found satisfaction. Ever. Even the most successful people have never found that true, genuine, lasting satisfaction, that unfolding just by getting stuff from outside. So then one turns inwards. And in so doing, you become a Nangba, which is then an insider. And then there are different types of insiders, who are following the path of the Buddha. And so what facilitates or enables this kind of continuity? Because after all, we have a lot of desires. If you're anything like me, a desire for this, and then on Tuesday I have desire this comes up, and a year later this kind of desire comes up. So they come up, they're like weeds. They come up all over the place, right? And so we could be just scattered every which way. And I think it's probably true, a lot of people are. There's no real continuity. They tried this for a while, and then they got disillusioned with that, and they tried that, and that marriage broke up, and then they tried this job. That didn't turn out very well. It's pretty good, but then they tried this, and then they die. And so it was just kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So to facilitate, to do all that we can to nurture that continuity, which is like, again, having a little a seed and just making sure that you don't flood it every 6 months or so and then let it be parched for the next 6 months. It just kind of keep on attending to it. It's not an awful lot of work, but keep attending to it. Mulch it, fertilize it, make sure it's getting the right amount of sun, the right amount of water, but just keep at it, and then lo and behold, you have a pretty nice fruit-bearing tree perhaps after some time. But you have to keep at it. And so it's the same thing here. The very term meditation from the Sanskrit is bhavana, which means to cultivate. So it's so much like, planting a tree, planting a garden, sowing a field. And it takes that continuity. It takes that continuity.